Good morning. What's up, Raider Nation? I am the Commish, and this is another edition of the Raider Reaction Morning Show for Tuesday, January 14th. Thanks for joining us, as always. Want to kick off the show today, and we've got a lot of kick-ass segments today, so make sure you stick around start to finish. Don't want to miss nothing, because you're going to like the second half of the show. That's for damn sure. But let's get it kicked off. Trayvon Mullen, one of the big shining stars out of this year's rookie class, and he really stepped up in the second half of the season. First half of the season, the jury was still out on Trayvon, but in the second half, he really stepped up. He looked solid, and he made us believers at a position of need. Raider legend, Professor Kennedy, breaks him down.
Young man that's got a bright future in front of him. He's tall, he's speedy, and there was a couple close calls where he could have had an interception this year. I think he's going to be big for the defense in years coming. Let's take a look at some of the plays that he made. First one we're going to take a look at is in the Texans game. Now he's got man coverage on Stills. When Stills goes in motion, he's going to go over with him. Now one thing I like about this is that when he goes over, it's going to be great route recognition because it's going to be what we call a speed out. He's just couple inches away from taking a pick and making it a pick six. Let's take a look. Goes in motion. Now as Stills comes up, you see the speed out, and he jumps it right away. Route recognition. Now he's got to be careful because later people will try to instill double moves, but in this instance, he's just a couple inches away from taking it to the house. Now in Paul Guenther's defense, the outside corners have got to be good tackles in the perimeter. In this instance, they're going to be playing a cover two. He's right here. His responsibility is to sink back deep enough to protect this area, but also be able to come up and force the issue if anybody sneaks out in the flat. Now what I like about this is two things. Not only does he take away the deep out, but he also, when he notices Leonard Fournette get the ball out as a check down, he makes a good tackle in open space against a big back. That's very useful in years to come because that's what you need your corners to do in this defense. Now watch him drop back. See the out? Now he comes up. Great tackle in space. Because you had great penetration by the defensive front, the quarterback was forced to get rid of the ball early, and he made a great tackle in space. Good job by number 27. What I also like about him is that he's very savvy. Now, this is actually a corner blitz. You're going to see him and LaMarcus Joyner both come off the side. It's a run-stopping blitz, a boundary blitz, because you want to try to get the ball back, and you're going to force the issue when you know a team is going to run the ball. How do I know it's a blitz? Well, one thing, he's coming off the boundary, but more importantly, pay attention to Carl Joseph. Carl Joseph comes over the top right at the snap of the ball to take the receiver if it was a pass route. Let's take a look. On the snap of the ball, great read recognition. Look at him get in the backfield quick, make a tackle for loss. Look, cornerbacks in this defense have got to be able to do a number of things. You got to be able to play press corner, so you have to be physical with opposing receivers. And more importantly, you got to have that sort of savviness about you to be able to cover a lot of space and play well in space. And I think Trayvon Mullen is one of those guys that's going to be good for a lot of years to come. He's a great addition to this defense, and I'm looking forward to watching him play in the next couple of years. Stay with us next week because we're going to focus in on another rookie. But until then, I'll see you.
This was just a cool little nugget I found as I was doing prep for the show, and I just wanted to throw it in. Just a cool little nugget. You got a Raider great, Bob Golick, telling a couple of gentlemen a personal story about an interaction with the Maverick, the Godfather, Al Davis. Check it out.
The Las Vegas Raiders now? Do we have permission to call them Las Vegas Raiders now?
I don't know. I just say Raiders because I don't want Mark Davis mad at me for something. So,
it's too early in the relationship
be careful.
To set it off in the wrong
That's
foot.
Right.
Yeah.
I think his dad liked me, which you could never tell by talking to him.
Oh my God.
And first practice that I played 10 years. I'd finished up in Cleveland. And then they signed me for my 11th year. I got 4 more with the Raiders. And they said, first practice, I'm out there in the silver and black going, this is freaking so cool. And I'm walking off, and Al Davis is standing right there. And I go, and I just was excited. Said, hey, Mr. Davis, how you doing? And he looked at me, and he said, how am I doing? I ain't won a Super Bowl. I ain't won a blanking Super Bowl since '84. How the blank do you think I'm doing? and I'm just like, all of a sudden I feel an arm on my shoulder, and it's Howie Long, and he kind of leans in and goes, "Don't talk to him unless he talks to you." It's okay.
We added a new segment to the Raider Reaction Morning Show yesterday as one of my co-hosts on the evening edition of the Raider Reaction webcast, Prime, has joined the morning show. And we debuted it yesterday, and it continues today. It's now time for your Prime Cut.
What's up? Good morning. This is Prime with your Prime Cut. Anyway, have to give you a little perspective on the playoffs after this weekend. I tell you, I had to have a day to think about it. So anyway, I'll get right into it. We had 4 games in the NFL, and they were all pretty fantastic in their own way. I tell you what, of course, no one saw the Titans go into Baltimore and winning. Everyone had the Ravens as the number 1 seed, of course, as they achieved that during the regular season, and they were the favorites going into that game. In fact, favored by 10 points, and they still came up short. I think after 3 weeks of those starters not being on the field, they came out rusty, and the Titans had a game plan. I think I tell you what, it takes football back about 50 years, but it's a game plan that is working right now in the NFL. Now, of course, after that, we saw the next game was KC and Houston. I don't think that was the next game, but anyway, actually the next game was Minnesota and San Francisco. The 49ers just put a stamp on it, man. I tell you, they handled Minnesota no problem. They are hitting on all cylinders. They're the most complete team in the NFL right now. And I think that they are going to end up representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. Now, then, of course, we had the next day, and that's when, of course, Houston and KC played. Now, the Texans came out to a 24-point lead, and and then all of a sudden it was a 51-7 massacre by Kansas City, the most potent offense I've seen since probably the greatest show on turf. You know what I mean, with those Rams from 2000 or so. Anyway, yeah, that was one heck of a game. The Rockets, not the Houston Rockets, the Houston Texans, the worst team name in sports. The Houston Texans, they came out and they got a couple of bounces their way. They made a couple of plays on offense, but never did they look like they were in control, or their offense looked clunky. I'm not sure what's going on there. I know Deshaun Watson is one great quarterback, or at least he's going to be great. I think he can consistently be a top 10 quarterback for most of his career until he gets old, of course. Time's undefeated. But, yeah, then all of a sudden it was the Chiefs, and the Chiefs just looked unbelievable. I mean, making passes down the field. Patrick Mahomes is reminding everyone why he was the MVP last year, and the Chiefs took that handily. And, of course, it was that close game between Seattle and Green Bay. Now, I did say Seattle was going to beat Green Bay. I was wrong there. But I tell you what, there's no answer for Davante Adams. And if the 49ers can stop Davante Adams, then yeah, I think they'll have no problem beating the Packers. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into that. I'll get into my playoff picks a little later this week. But Seattle and Green Bay. Seattle went on the road. They were very, very hurt. But they still, although there were some questionable calls, they put up a good fight. And Russell Wilson is still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Aaron Rodgers shows he can still get it done as well. I mean, Jimmy Graham had a decent game, I guess. He showed up for at least that one play. But for the most part, yeah, the Packers got it done at home, and it was against a Seattle team that was not up to speed with their health. So that's pretty much what happened in the playoffs over this past weekend. I'll have my picks out a little bit later this week, and if you already have some early picks, feel free, post them on the show or post them in the on the page, And, I'll take a look at all that, of course, and I'll shout you out if you make a good point. So this is Prime with my Prime Cut and that look at the playoffs. Have a great rest of your morning.
It would not be a Raider Reaction morning show without a fucking D-bag of the day, now would it? You, sir, are a fucking douchebag.
Hey, what's going on, Raider Nation? It's me, Raider Ortiz, and I got a douchebag of the day. Douchebag of the day goes to that Jeff Brown who thought it was funny to post a picture of his girlfriend or wife shitting near our new stadium. That's the douchebag of the day, and he's a second douchebag because that fucking ass has no business being out on the fucking internet. That shit shouldn't even be considered an ass. That shouldn't be seen by fucking thousands of people. So for that, you're a double douchebag. And that's my douchebag of the day.
I enjoy these little segments all throughout the season. It's nice to get a little behind the scenes and a little insight and a little into the psyche, the personal side of the players. And of course, it's always nice to see the beautiful Nicole.
AJ Cole III, come on in. Welcome.
Thank you.
Our official meeting, Nicole's the Loomis. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I do like the beard, it's working.
Thanks. Beards are in.
Make sure y'all don't get my feet. I ain't got no shoes on.
Uh-oh. Let's go back to when you first came into this league. You didn't even get an invite to the combine. You had to wait till after college to go to the regional combines. Is that what has motivated you?
That definitely, playing for the name on the back of my jersey. My family came from a small school. So that's a big chip on my shoulder, and just to get out there and show the league what I got.
Your father went to high school here, and he's like a die-hard Raiders fan.
For sure, yeah. He grew up in Oakland, so I came here a lot in the summer and hung out. His parents lived out here, so for my dad, just to be able to see his son playing for the town that he grew up in, it was fun.
Aren't you kind of a computer nerd? Am I allowed to say that? My brother he works for IBM, so I call him that all the time.
Well, it's funny you say IBM because I actually had a job that was supposed to start on September 3rd with IBM. The job was supposed to start in like January, February, but I was like, hey, I want to train for the NFL, and they're like, okay, cool, we'll start it in like May or June. And then I called him, I was like, hey, I'm going to rookie minicamp. Then I was like, hey, I got a contract. And then I was like, hey, I actually made the team, I'm not coming. Like 2 days before the job was supposed to start. So if Rick's watching this, sorry that I didn't show up, Rick.
I'm sure he's okay with it. You were born in 1995?
Yep.
So who did you grow up watching? Who were the NFL stars that you modeled your game after?
So I'm a big college fan. I love college football. And so I was always in the backyard playing football rather than watching it. But me and my dad did love watching Peyton Manning play in those teams, Indianapolis Colts with Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and those guys. And so getting into middle school, high school, watching Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, being able to play against those guys this year has been unbelievable to me.
Who was your hero?
Football, I just enjoy.
Give me football, baseball, or it could be basketball.
Baseball was Derek Jeter.
Okay, all right.
Nobody else.
Football?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, and he's still playing.
Yeah.
Was there a favorite athlete growing up? I'm assuming it wasn't a football player.
No, I didn't watch. Oh, athlete? Kobe.
Yeah.
Of course.
Kobe. Oh, of course.
I'm from Inglewood. Yeah, Kobe.
Well, you are
Kobe
from
Bryant.
Inglewood. That's true. From Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And is Kobe still what you would consider the greatest of all time in any sport?
Well, it goes Jordan, Kobe, then LeBron.
Wait, it goes Jordan, Kobe, LeBron.
Yeah.
Okay, but Kobe was your guy.
Yeah, Kobe was my guy. That's who I grew up watching, Kobe and Shaq.
So I want to focus on the most exciting moments of the season so far. There's one particular play that you've turned in, one of your teammates has turned in, that stands out to you the most.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go first. I'll definitely go with Foster's touchdown in Indy.
That's what I was going to say, too. Foster touchdown in Indy.
I mean, just...
Well, first, thanks.
This is really sweet.
Yeah, definition of Moss.
Yeah.
Great catch.
Absolutely.
Well, first off, let me say this. Big drink back there was wide open. I didn't get the ball all week on that corner route, and Darren should have gotten it.
We're seeing flashes of brilliance from Josh. I mean, various people.
From all these guys.
Positions. When you look at those moments, the highs that we've seen this season, what kind of promise does it bring when it comes to this organization?
Oh, our future is very bright. You know, Mr. Davis used to talk about that, right?
I know fans really wanted to see you as a selection for Pro Bowl, and that might still happen depending on what happens with Super Bowl, but To be recognized as a Pro Bowler, I mean, that has to be pretty special, whether you're a selection or an alternate.
Yeah, to even be in a conversation of, just being right there on the cusp is, that's cool with me. Like, I'm in the discussion, like I'm there and I'm producing at that level. So, I mean, I'm cool with it.
Talk to me a little bit about Hunter Renfrow, another rookie, going up against him.
I always have admired Hunter, even when he was at Clemson. Seeing him play on national TV and the things that he did at that level was unbelievable, just hearing his story. Like I said, I always admired him.
You've mentioned when it comes to an offense, you think one of the most important things is having that running back, and the Raiders have that.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I think since I came in the league, we had a really good back in Melvin Gordon, and with being a deeper threat, it just tires the defense out, having a running back, especially how Josh ran last game, and just pounding and pounding and pounding. You can see that they get tired, and it just opens up so much more, and I feel like it deflates the defense. So, I mean, having a running back is key.
When you look at the Oakland Coliseum, all the history there, the memories, is there one that stands out to you?
Just being able to be at that stadium, remembering being in that locker room and going through that tunnel and going out to the field. To be able to go out there and perform and win some of the games that we had in that stadium, years ago when Darryl was playing in '67, we won the championship game here. And then we had with Clarence catch that big ball to see a hands, they go crazy. We had the Heidi game. It just goes on and on and on about the games that you played. To be part of that is just amazing.
And now it's time for a little segment of the show. I like to give you those little sports nuggets that you can drop throughout your day. Wow people. Your surroundings, your friends, your family, your coworkers. Like, where the fuck did you get that? How do you know that? I know that because I watched the Commish this morning on What the Fuck Happened Today in Sports History. Well, what the fuck happened today in sports history was the first ever Pro Bowl took place in Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, 1951. The American Conference beat the National Conference and was led by their MVP, Otto Graham. That happened today, January 14th. Also today, the Miami Dolphins finished off the only perfect season in the NFL, defeating the Washington Redskins. And in 2001, NFC Championship, the New York Giants defeat the pathetic Minnesota Vikings 41-0. That's why you will forever be on the kiddie table, you pathetic ass motherfuckers. SKUL stands for Supreme Kings of Losing. That's why they're purple. They've been choking for well over how many decades now? And that's what the fuck happened today in sports history. And now, to send you on your way with your Raider quote of the day. Al Davis is a legend, and his contribution and influence on the game of football, the National Football League, and the Oakland Raiders has been profound for decades. To view his contribution and influence on a season-by-season basis does not make any sense. He has dominated the industry for a lifetime. I can't tell you how he may have impacted or guided other individuals during their careers, but I can speak from personal experience. He inspires me to be better every day than I was the day before. The great Amy Trask. Have a kick-ass day, Raider Nation. Rock this Tuesday to its fucking fullest. I'll see you tonight. Very special, no-holds-barred, uncensored interview with Raider Nation's own Deadpool Raider. Tonight. Don't miss it. Until then, I'm out. Peace, love, Raider Nation!